I got to understand what happens in your body, how it affects your mind, and how it affects your relationship, and how isolating it is. It can get dark very quickly, how people can pull away, and not because they don't really care about you, but because sometimes they just feel helpless. Hi, friends and family. Welcome to Open Hearts Conversations, the podcast where we talk about life, healing, connection, and what it truly means to show up for ourselves and each other. My name is Pumelele, and I am your host. Thank you so much for being here. On today's episode, we are talking about something that is so tender. So we'll be talking about how to be there for someone who is grieving. Last week we explored listening without fixing, and I was able to share how important it is to just be with someone, not rushing to solutions, not trying to make it all okay, just showing up and being present. Now, this episode is going to continue from that very place into a space that is even more delicate, which is grief. Grief, loss, death, deep emotional pain. And we're going to talk about how, when we are faced with grief and loss, we often go quiet or we disappear. And that's not because we don't care, but because we don't know how to care, right? So let's begin the episode. So I think it was a week ago, I saw a post on TikTok by this creator. I think her name was Saneli. And she said something that really stayed with me. She said that your friend who is grieving does not want you. They need you. And I'll say it again so it lands. Your friend who's grieving doesn't want you. They need you. That really hit me, and it really hit me hard because I know what it's like to be that friend. And I also know what it's like to be the one who maybe disappears or who's unsure of how to show up. I don't think I've always approached grief well because I simply just didn't know how. And it wasn't until my own experience with loss, where I lost my cousin, that I really understood the depth of grief. I got to understand what happens in your body, how it affects your mind, and how it affects your relationship, and how isolating it is. It can get dark very quickly, how people can pull away, and not because they don't really care about you, but because sometimes they just feel helpless. Sometimes they are triggered through their own experiences, through their own pain that they've been through. So they don't know how to deal or how to be there for you because no one really teaches us how to go about doing this. I am having to now learn how to hold space for myself in grief. And I think in that process, then I'm also learning how to hold space for someone else who might be going through that same or similar experience. Grief, maybe let's talk about grief a little bit to unpack it a little bit more. I think we can experience grief in many different ways: through the loss of a loved one, through the loss of security, financial security, through losing a job, through losing health and being sick, through divorce, many different ways. And I think grief isn't just the sadness that you experience, it's something that really shakes your entire life. And it's so disorienting because it changes every single thing. Your brain is foggy and everything just shifts. And when someone is grieving, we often think, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Maybe they want space. They know that I'm here if they need me. We make those kinds of assumptions that if I'm needed, they're going to call. They know that I'm here. But I want to say this to you, and I want to say it in the most gentle, most kind way. Silence feels like abandonment. Silence feels like abandonment. And even if your friend cannot respond, even if they're really not themselves, well, you can't expect them to be themselves now, can we? Even when they don't want advice, they don't want to be cheered up, what they do need in that moment is witnessing. You just being there as a witness, someone who can be able to sit beside them in their darkness, in their mess, and you can say, I don't know what to say, but I am here. You don't have to have the right words. You don't have to know. And a lot of the times, words are simply not enough. There's nothing that can be said, but your presence, and I'm going to reiterate what I said in the previous episode, your presence is enough. So, I want us to explore some real and practical ways that we can be able to show up. So, what can you do? What can you do to support somebody who is grieving? Right. The first way is to be consistent in your presence. So, what does that mean? It means checking in with your friend, whether it's a call, whether it's a text, it's a voice message saying, hey, I'm thinking of you. Don't make them do the emotional labor of having to reach out to you. Reach out. Secondly, hold space without trying to fix them, right? Don't rush them to be okay. Grief is a long and long journey. Allow them to go through all the stages of grief. Let them speak. Allow them to be angry. Allow them to be quiet. Allow them to be numb. Your role is not to cheer them up in this moment. Your role is not for you to be the light that's going to shine from the gods. Your role is to be there alongside them as they go through their different stages. Thirdly, the language that you use, let it be affirming. Let them know that they don't have to say anything. They can sit there with you. Let them know that they can cry if they need to. You are here with them and you're not going anywhere. Let them know that I just simply can't imagine how hard this must be. Take your time. There's no rush. Be in the pain if you need to be. And number 4 is being able to show your support in practical ways and showing up for your friend in practical ways. And sometimes a lot of us are not good with words. We don't know how to sit with pain because of our own personal reasons. But you can bring food. You can offer to run errands for them. You can babysit if your friend has a child. You can do basic tasks that takes the load off of them and just allow them that space to be able to breathe and know that certain things have been taken care of. And the last one that I'm going to share is don't disappear after the funeral. And I think we've seen this happen and we've heard about it where people have showed up at a funeral and they've said a lot of things. They've promised the family, they've promised the children, I'll be there. And as soon as that is over, there's no follow up. No one is really checking in to see how you're really doing. And so this is to just say that show up for the people that you care about. Think of, those days like birthdays, anniversaries, days like that when it's hard sometimes. Think about them. Let them know that you're thinking about them. And so, yeah, those are just a few ways in which you can be able to show up. Um, I'm learning this, and I'm hoping that you are also learning something from this. And if you're listening and thinking, oh my word, I think I really just dropped the ball in this one and I wasn't able to show up for my friend, y- you're not a bad friend. So please be kind to yourself as well. Be gentle with yourself. I think we're all learning. We are not given a manual on how to approach this. We aren't taught how to do this. So what really matters now is what you do in this moment now that you know better, and you can always reach out. Even now, it's never too late to show up. So yeah, um, I think I'm quite aware that today's episode was a little on the heavy side, but these are the conversations. These are the difficult conversations that, um, yeah, that I'm all about, I guess, that I believe in, and I think we should be having. Um, there's always room for that. They don't have an easy answer, but requires us to really open up our hearts. And grief is hard, and supporting anyone through grief is also tremendously hard. But showing up, however imperfect that might be, is really what's important, and that's what matters. So, if someone you really care about and someone that you love is grieving, please show up anyway. Say whatever it is. I don't know what to say, but I'm here. And mean that. Really mean it from the bottom of your heart. And so, as we conclude this episode, I am going to invite you once again to take a deep breath with me. Let your shoulders drop and let your heart soften. Thank you. And on the next episode, we are going to explore the quiet exhaustion of being the strong one, what it costs, and what it means to allow yourself to be held to. So until then, please be gentle and soft with yourself. You are doing so much better than you think. I love you. Thank you. Bye.